Welcome to another deep dive. This time we're heading into ancient Egypt. You know, you've always been fascinated by the Great Pyramid, and we're going to unpack this YouTube video that you sent in featuring researcher Robert Grant and Randall Carlson.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah, this discussion is packed with theories about the hidden knowledge encoded within those incredible structures. We're talking about connections to constellations and music, and even the units of measurement we use today.
Yeah, it's really fascinating how Grant goes beyond just like the physical structure of the pyramids.
Yeah.
He suggests that the builders incorporated this profound understanding of the cosmos, like into their design.
Exactly, and he starts by revealing his discovery of what he calls petroglyphs inside the king's chamber of the Great Pyramid.
Petroglyphs.
Yeah, for those who aren't familiar, petroglyphs are ancient etchings or carvings on rock surfaces.
Okay.
And what's remarkable about these particular petroglyphs is that they seem to depict constellations,
Oh, wow.
almost like a celestial map.
Hmm. So if these markings are indeed constellations, it kind of raises the possibility that the pyramid could function as a sort of celestial clock,
Yeah.
tracking these vast astronomical cycles like the precession of the equinoxes.
And he's not just talking about vague star patterns either. He pinpoints specific constellations. A bull representing Taurus, a bird for Lyra, and even a figure on Pegasus aiming an arrow at Aquila.
Oh, wow.
These figures mirror the actual positions of these constellations in the night sky.
Huh. That level of precision, that's what makes this so intriguing. It suggests a deep understanding of astronomy,
Yeah.
a knowledge that kind of challenges some conventional timelines for ancient Egypt.
And it gets even more interesting. Grant believes he can potentially determine the pyramid's construction date based on these star alignments.
Hey, really?
By calculating the precise historical positions of stars like Deneb in the constellation Cygnus, he thinks he can establish a more accurate timeline.
That's a bold claim.
Yeah.
It would require incredibly precise calculations and a thorough understanding of how stars have shifted their positions over millennia.
He's definitely not relying on just old school methods, though. Grant uses some cutting-edge technology to make these observations.
Oh, like what?
He's using LiDAR scanning and even the Apple Vision Pro
Wow.
to create an immersive, interactive 3D model of the king's chamber. It's like he can virtually step inside the pyramid and examine these markings up close.
Those tools certainly offer incredible possibilities for analysis and visualization, but it's still crucial to approach the interpretations with a critical eye.
Absolutely, but buckle up, because here's where things take a turn toward the mind-boggling. Grant suggests that the shape of the king's chamber itself might mirror the arrangement of four specific stars:
Really?
Polaris, Deneb, Vega, and Thuban.
Now, those stars are particularly significant because they have, all at different points in Earth's history, served as the pole star, the star that appears directly above Earth's North Pole. And the reason those pole stars change over incredibly long periods is due to a phenomenon called the precession of the equinoxes. It's essentially a slow wobble in Earth's rotational axis.
So if Grant's theory is correct, and the king's chamber was designed to align with these shifting pole stars, it implies that the pyramid builders had knowledge of astronomical cycles that span thousands of years.
That's the implication. And it's certainly a thought-provoking one. It suggests a level of astronomical knowledge that's, well, it's far beyond what's typically attributed to ancient
When
Egypt.
it doesn't stop there. Grant then dives into the idea that the Ark of the Covenant, the sacred chest from the Bible, was once housed within the Great Pyramid sarcophagus.
Wow.
He connects the Ark's symbolism to these constellations, linking them to the 12 tribes of Israel and their flags, which he believes correspond to astrological symbols.
This claim connects to a broader discussion about potential links between ancient Egypt and biblical narratives, a topic that's always fascinated scholars and enthusiasts alike.
And then he introduces the concept of water memory, which is the idea that water molecules can retain imprints of thoughts and intentions.
The concept of water memory, huh? That's generated a lot of interest and some intriguing research, but it remains a subject of debate within the scientific community.
Grant proposes that the pyramid's granite, which contains a high percentage of quartz, might hold a form of encoded memory due to this water memory effect.
It's certainly a thought-provoking concept, even if the scientific evidence is still being explored. The notion that the very stones of the pyramid could hold echoes of the thoughts and intentions of its builders is pretty incredible.
Now, get ready for some number crunching. Grant unveils some surprising mathematical relationships within the pyramid's design. He finds that the sarcophagus's dimensions relate to both pi and the golden ratio.
Hmm. The golden ratio and pi, those aren't just like arbitrary mathematical concepts. They're found throughout nature, you know, from the spirals of galaxies to the proportions of the human body.
Right.
Finding these ratios in the pyramid's design could suggest that the builders were attempting to harmonize their creation with the fundamental principles of the universe.
That's what makes this so fascinating. It's like they were encoding a deeper understanding of natural laws into their architecture.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond just the sarcophagus. Grant also finds that the pyramid's perimeter incorporates pi and meters, and even the speed of light and Earth's latitude seem to be embedded in the structure.
These are incredibly bold claims.
Yeah.
If true, they suggest a level of mathematical sophistication that goes beyond our conventional understanding of ancient Egyptian knowledge.
He even introduces this unit of measurement called the long cubit, which ties into the number 432.
432.
Apparently, this number holds significance in certain musical and cosmological theories, which we'll explore further along in this deep dive.
The number 432. Huh. It's popped up in various esoteric traditions and alternative scientific theories. It's interesting to see how Grant connects it to the pyramid's design and the broader concept of cosmic harmony.
And that's precisely where he takes us next. He proposes that the Giza Plateau, where the pyramids stand, might represent the throat chakra, a concept from ancient Eastern traditions.
The throat chakra is associated with communication, expression, and resonance, which aligns with Grant's focus on music and harmony in his analysis of the pyramids.
And here's where things get really musical. Grant suggests that the three main pyramids at Giza, Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure, were intentionally designed to represent specific musical intervals. We're talking about diminished fifths, perfect fourths and fifths, major and minor thirds.
Wow.
Almost like a giant stone symphony.
This concept ties into that ancient philosophical idea of the harmony of the spheres, where celestial bodies were believed to create music based on their movements and distances. It's as if the builders intended to create a structure that was not only visually impressive, but also resonated with the very frequencies of the cosmos.
To help visualize these connections, Grant uses a program called GeoGebra to demonstrate how the dimensions of the pyramids relate to these musical intervals.
Visualizing these relationships can really help us grasp the potential complexity and intentionality behind the pyramid's design.
And one of the most fascinating things he shows is how the Great Pyramid can be used to square the circle, which is a classic geometric problem that has captivated mathematicians for centuries.
Squaring the circle
Yeah.
involves constructing a square with the same area as a given circle using only a compass and a straight edge. It's a problem that's impossible to solve perfectly, but approximations can be achieved, and the Great Pyramid seems to come remarkably close.
It really does. He also highlights the intricate relationships between the base lengths, heights, and the circles that can be inscribed within each pyramid's design.
These geometric relationships suggest a level of precision and intentionality that's, well, it's hard to dismiss as mere coincidence.
Now, prepare for things to get a little more ancient mysteries style. Grant brings in Metatron's cube, this complex geometric figure that's often described as a blueprint for creation.
Metatron's cube is a fascinating symbol found in various mystical and esoteric traditions. It's believed to contain all 5 Platonic solids, which are considered the fundamental building blocks of the universe in some schools of thought.
And Grant claims that the positions and proportions of the Giza pyramids can be derived from Metatron's cube without using traditional measurements.
Wow.
This suggests a sophisticated level of geometric understanding, maybe even access to knowledge that's been lost over time.
The idea that the ancient Egyptians may have used a system like Metatron's cube to design and construct the pyramids, well, it opens up a whole new way of thinking about their architectural and geometrical knowledge. It's a fascinating possibility.
It's like they were weaving cosmic principles into the very landscape. And Grant goes on to suggest that other pyramids around the world, like those in Teotihuacan in Mexico and Chichen Itza in the Yucatan Peninsula, may also be based on this geometric system.
If true, that would suggest a level of interconnectedness between ancient cultures that we're only beginning to understand.
All right.
It challenges our current understanding of history and raises fascinating questions about how knowledge was transmitted across vast distances in ancient times.
Right. It makes you wonder what else we might have missed or misinterpreted about these ancient civilizations. And he doesn't stop at the pyramids. Grant also explores the Nile River and the placement of its temples, suggesting they correspond to musical notes and astrological symbols.
It's like he's seeing music and cosmic harmony woven into the very fabric of ancient Egypt. A civilization that clearly had a profound understanding of nature's rhythms and patterns.
He even takes us to the less famous Lost Pyramid at Abu Rawash.
Ah, Abu Rawash, a site that often gets overshadowed by the grandeur of Giza.
Exactly. Grant theorizes that this pyramid was once much taller and might represent the pineal and pituitary glands because of its connection to the symbol of the philosopher's stone.
The philosopher's stone,
Yeah.
that's a legendary alchemical substance, said to hold the key to transformation and enlightenment, linking it to the pineal and pituitary glands, which are often associated with spiritual insight and higher consciousness. Well, it adds a whole other layer of intrigue to Abu Rawash.
This Grant throws out a truly bold speculation. He suggests that Abu Rawash, given its supposed immense size, could have been the real Tower of Babel.
The Tower of Babel, as described in the Bible, represents human ambition and the consequences of reaching for the heavens. It's fascinating to think that this ancient structure could be connected to such a powerful and enduring myth.
It's all starting to feel like a giant puzzle where every piece connects to some ancient secret. And remember how we mentioned that ancient Giza and Cairo were referred to as Babylon during the time of Jesus?
Right.
It's like these names and locations hold hidden clues about our past.
The idea that our understanding of history might be incomplete or even inaccurate is a recurring theme in alternative archaeology.
And then Grant throws out another mind-blowing claim. He suggests that the meter, foot, and the Royal Egyptian cubit, all fundamental units of measurement, are embedded within the Great Pyramid's construction.
That claim touches on the ongoing debate about the origins of these units of measurement. Some researchers argue that they have ancient roots that stretch back further than conventionally thought. If Grant's assertion is correct, it would certainly add fuel to that debate.
It's as if the pyramid itself is whispering secrets about ancient knowledge that we're only just beginning to rediscover. And this leads us to some even deeper mathematical concepts, which we'll delve into when we return for part 2 of our deep dive. Welcome back. We're picking up our exploration of researcher Robert Grant's ideas about the Great Pyramid. We've covered so much ground already, from potential star maps and hidden chambers to, well, the mind-boggling suggestion that ancient civilizations might have possessed knowledge that we're only just beginning to grasp.
It's certainly challenging our conventional understanding of history and the capabilities of ancient cultures.
And before we go any further, I want to touch on one of Grant's most fascinating claims. The idea that the pyramids were built with an understanding of these vast astronomical cycles and their potential effects on Earth. If these cycles are predictable, could we use that knowledge to prepare for future events?
That's the million-dollar question. If we can decipher the patterns, understand the triggers, and accurately predict events like asteroid impacts, pole shifts, or major volcanic eruptions, we could potentially take steps to mitigate the impact, but those are forces of nature on a planetary scale.
Right.
It'll be a monumental challenge, to say the least.
So if Grant believes these events are cyclical, what exactly is the pyramid telling us? Is it like a cosmic countdown timer?
Grant doesn't seem to be suggesting anything that literal. His research is more about identifying correlations between astronomical cycles and significant events in Earth's history. He's suggesting that the pyramid's design and alignment might encode information about these cycles, possibly offering insights into the timing and nature of these events.
So it's more like a cosmic Rosetta Stone that we need to figure out how to read?
Perhaps. But it's crucial to remember that interpreting ancient symbolism is inherently subjective. Different researchers might draw different conclusions from the same evidence.
True, but even if we can't pinpoint the exact date of the next major event, Grant's research makes you think differently about our place in the cosmos.
Absolutely. Exploring these alternative perspectives, it challenges our assumptions and encourages us to ask, bigger questions about our past, present, and future.
Remember how Grant connects the Giza Plateau to the throat chakra? What's the significance of that?
The throat chakra is often associated with communication, expression, and resonance. Grant seems to be suggesting that the pyramids were built, not just as tombs or monuments, but as structures designed to resonate with cosmic frequencies, possibly influencing consciousness or transmitting information.
Like a giant cosmic antenna.
It's a fascinating concept, whether or not there's scientific evidence to support it. But it highlights how many ancient cultures viewed the world through a lens of interconnectedness, seeing themselves as part of a larger cosmic order.
Okay, let's circle back to Grant's research on Leonardo da Vinci. You mentioned earlier that he connects da Vinci to ancient Egypt. Why is that?
Grant proposes this link between da Vinci and ancient Egypt, suggesting that he might have spent time there during a period of his life where his whereabouts are largely unknown. He even claims that Da Vinci wrote a letter to the Sultan of Cairo, who is sometimes referred to as the Sultan of Babylon.
That's a pretty bold claim. Is there any historical evidence to support that?
Hmm. Da Vinci's potential connection to Egypt has been a subject of speculation for centuries. It's intriguing to consider that he may have had access to, well, to ancient knowledge that influenced his work.
And one of the connections Grant draws is between Da Vinci's famous Vitruvian Man and the pyramids. Can you explain that?
The Vitruvian Man is that iconic image of human proportions inscribed within a circle and a square, symbolizing harmony and balance. Grant points to the three diamond shapes on the Vitruvian Man's solar plexus, claiming they mirror the placement of the Giza pyramids.
That's an incredible visual parallel. Like, he's suggesting a link between the human form and the pyramids, which Grant sees as encoding cosmic knowledge.
Exactly. It's like he's saying the same principles that govern the universe are also reflected within us.
And remember that recurring number 8.64 we've been talking about. Well, the diameter of the circle in Da Vinci's original Vitruvian Man drawing is 8.64 inches. Too strange to be a coincidence.
It certainly adds to the intrigue. But remember, correlations don't necessarily equal causation. It's possible these are simply coincidences, or that we're seeing patterns where none actually exist.
True. But the sheer volume of connections that Grant is weaving together, ancient mythology, astronomy, mathematics, art, and even spiritual symbolism, it does start to feel like a coherent tapestry, a hidden code waiting to be deciphered.
Grant is certainly a compelling storyteller, and his ability to connect these seemingly disparate threads is, well, it's captivating.
Okay, let's dig into the more unsettling aspects of Grant's research, specifically his timeline of doom. He suggests that major catastrophic events like asteroid impacts, volcanic eruptions, and even ice sheet collapses are not random occurrences, but align with specific points in the precession of the equinoxes.
That's right. He's proposing that these events are part of a cyclical pattern driven by that slow wobble in Earth's axis.
And he brings in these Heinrich events as evidence. Can you explain what those are?
Heinrich events are well-documented periods in Earth's history when massive amounts of icebergs broke off from glaciers and surged into the North Atlantic Ocean. These events happened, relatively quickly and had significant impacts on ocean currents and global climate.
And Grant connects these events to asteroid impacts or other cosmic events, right?
He does. And there is some evidence that suggests large impacts can trigger, well, significant climate change and geological upheaval. For example, the impact that wiped out the dinosaurs is thought to have caused massive wildfires, tsunamis, and volcanic eruptions, leading to a global cooling event.
Okay, now that is terrifying. So if we're due for another one of these Heinrich events and they're linked to asteroid impacts, are we basically sitting ducks?
Not necessarily. Our understanding of asteroid threats has come a long way in recent years. We are developing technologies to detect and potentially deflect potentially hazardous objects.
That's slightly reassuring. But Grant also talks about pole shifts, like the Earth's axis actually tilting.
Pole shifts are a controversial topic. While there's evidence that Earth's magnetic poles have reversed throughout history, the idea of a sudden catastrophic shift in the geographic poles is not widely accepted in mainstream science.
But if it did happen, wouldn't that be a global catastrophe? Ocean shifting, continents rearranging, complete chaos.
It would certainly be a dramatic event, but remember, geological processes typically happen over very long periods. Even a pole shift, if it were to occur, would likely unfold, well, gradually, giving us time to adapt.
Okay, maybe we're not all doomed just yet, but Grant's research is definitely making me think differently about our planet's history and the forces that have shaped it.
That's the beauty of science. It's a process of ongoing discovery and sometimes those discoveries challenge our most fundamental assumptions.
But there are still so many questions. If these cycles are real and embedded within the Great Pyramid, what does that tell us about the people who built it? And what does it tell us about our future?
Those are questions that have puzzled scholars and researchers for centuries, and we'll continue to explore them as we delve into the final part of our deep dive.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the mysteries of the Great Pyramid. We've been exploring researcher Robert Grant's fascinating and sometimes controversial theories about ancient knowledge and cosmic cycles and the possibility of these cyclical catastrophes.
Yeah. We've covered a lot of ground, from potential star maps and hidden chambers to mathematical enigmas, and the idea that ancient civilizations might have possessed knowledge, well, far beyond what we traditionally believe.
Yeah, my head is still spinning from it all. But I think it's time to tackle the big question that's been looming over our entire conversation. If the Great Pyramid is truly a celestial clock, well, what time is it telling us now?
That's the ultimate question that Grant's work raises, isn't it?
Mhm.
Is it a warning, a message, or is simply a record of cycles that have played out, throughout Earth's history?
Right. Is it a like a cosmic alarm clock set to go off at some specific point in the precession of the equinoxes?
Hmm. It's tempting to interpret it that way,
Mm.
especially considering Grant's focus on potential catastrophic events. But it's important not to jump to conclusions. We're dealing with interpretations of symbolism and patterns, not literal clock with hands and numbers.
Okay, so maybe it's not a countdown timer to the apocalypse, but what if it's more like a roadmap, a guide to understanding these cycles and how they might affect us?
That's a more nuanced and perhaps more plausible interpretation. If the pyramid's design truly encodes knowledge about astronomical cycles and their potential impact on Earth, well, it could be seen as a message from the past,
Mm.
urging us to pay attention to these cycles and learn from history.
Like a giant cosmic history textbook etched in stone.
Exactly. A record of past events and a potential guide for navigating the future.
But if these cycles are inevitable, is there anything we can do to change the course of events? Are we just destined to repeat the mistakes of past civilizations?
That's where the concepts of free will and conscious choice come in. Even if we acknowledge the influence of these cosmic cycles, we still have the ability to make decisions,
Mhm.
and take actions that can shape our future.
So it's not a question of fate versus free will. It's more like a cosmic dance between the two.
I like that analogy. We're part of a larger system influenced by forces beyond our control, but we're also active participants in shaping our destiny.
That's actually a more empowering way to look at it. So even if we can't prevent the next asteroid impact or pole shift, well, we can at least try to mitigate the damage and maybe even use these cycles to our advantage.
That's a more proactive and hopeful perspective.
Mhm.
Instead of simply fearing the unknown, we can approach it with curiosity and the willingness to learn, potentially using ancient knowledge to help guide our path.
I love that. It's not about being, victims of these cycles. It's about becoming co-creators with the cosmos.
Precisely. It's about understanding our role as conscious beings within a larger cosmic order. We recognize the forces at play, but we also recognize our power to make choices and shape our destiny.
So what does this all mean for us here and now? What can we actually do with this knowledge?
I think the first step is to stay informed. Continue exploring these ideas, researching the science behind them, and considering different perspectives. Don't accept anything blindly, but also don't dismiss anything out of hand.
So critical thinking is key.
Absolutely. We need to be discerning consumers of information, especially when dealing with alternative theories. But we also need to be open to the possibility that our current understanding of the world, well, it might be incomplete.
That's great advice. But for those of us who aren't, astrophysicists or archaeologists, how can we contribute to this exploration?
Ask questions, challenge assumptions, share your insights with others, support researchers and organizations that are exploring these topics. Every voice adds to the conversation and helps us get closer to understanding the mysteries of our past and present.
I'm feeling inspired. It's like we're all part of this grand cosmic detective story, piecing together clues from the past to understand our place in the universe and shape a more conscious future.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And who knows what incredible discoveries await us as we continue to explore the frontiers of knowledge and unlock the secrets embedded within ancient structures like the Great Pyramid.
This deep dive has definitely given me a lot to ponder. You've clearly spent a lot of time thinking about these concepts. What resources or areas of research would you recommend to those who want to learn more?
Well, if you're intrigued by the connection between ancient structures and astronomy, you might want to explore archaeoastronomy.
Yeah.
Researchers like Graham Hancock, Robert Bauval, and John Anthony West, they've done some fascinating work in this area. They've made significant contributions to our understanding of how ancient cultures, view the cosmos and encoded astronomical knowledge into their monuments.
And what about the connection between the pyramids and music? Where can we learn more about that?
The concept of the harmony of the spheres, that's a rich area for exploration. You could dive into the works of ancient Greek philosophers like like Pythagoras and Plato, who believed that the universe was structured according to musical principles. Or you could look into the research of modern-day scientists who are studying the relationship between sound, vibration, and the structure of matter.
This has been an incredible journey. As we wrap up, what's the one takeaway you hope listeners will remember from our deep dive?
Hmm. The universe is full of mysteries, and our understanding of it is constantly evolving. Never be afraid to question assumptions,
Yeah.
explore alternative perspectives, and keep searching for answers. The journey itself is just as important as the destination.
Well said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this extraordinary exploration of the Great Pyramid, ancient knowledge, and the mysteries of the cosmos.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep wondering.
The universe is a vast and mysterious place. Who knows what secrets we'll uncover next?